Have you ever held a grudge against someone for years?
Oh, absolutely. We all have that one person.
Right. But I'm talking about a deeply rooted, fundamental grudge where you are like entirely convinced this person is the undisputed villain of your life story.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You have the narrative entirely mapped out in your head, and then years later, you realize you were missing the single most crucial piece of the puzzle.
Which is just a profoundly unsettling experience for the human brain. I mean, you build this massive architecture of resentment, and your nervous system gets used to firing in a very specific defensive way whenever you think of them.
Yeah, totally.
And then, one piece of new information causes that entire structure to just collapse.
And that collapse is exactly the foundation of what we're unpacking today. So welcome to this deep dive into the Amazon original short story, Everybody's Favorite Guy by Katherine Center.
It's such a compelling piece of source material.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the mission of this deep dive isn't just to, recap a romance or talk about a snowy reunion. We're using this story to dissect the anatomy of a devastating misunderstanding.
Right.
The, frankly, extreme psychological sacrifices people make for love. And perhaps most surprisingly, the literal biological mechanics of grief.
That biological aspect is fascinating. But to set the baseline context for you, we are looking at two lifelong family friends, Lily and Walker.
Best friends since childhood.
Exactly. They grew up side by side, their families vacationed together, but tragically both of their fathers passed away.
Which is a heavy thing to share.
It is. And in response, their well-meaning empty nester mothers have organized this spring break trip to a family cabin in the Rocky Mountains. The stated goal of the trip is to scatter their dad's ashes at a place called Turnaround Pass.
And here's where the psychological tension just immediately ratchets up. Because the moms are treating this like a fun, healing get-together.
Oh, yeah. They're totally oblivious to the tension.
I mean, they even bought matching group T-shirts with Columbine flowers on
Of
them.
course they did.
Right. But Lily is absolutely dreading it. She has spent months counting down to this trip with a physical knot in her stomach.
Because she hates Walker.
She despises him. Her only saving grace was that Walker had torn the meniscus in his knee playing basketball. So he wasn't even supposed to be there.
Right. She thought she was safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she lands at the Denver airport, and not only does Walker show up, he is not limping. In fact, he is looking like the absolute peak representation of the human form.
Which, presents a significant cognitive hurdle when you're trying to maintain a decade-long hatred.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the brain really struggles to hold on to pure resentment when confronted with unexpected, objective physical attractiveness. It's a conflict of data.
Right. It's like, I want to hate you, but my eyes are telling me something else.
Yeah.
And then the universe decides to force Lily and Walker's simmering tension to a boiling point through, like, a classic setup. Forced proximity via a freak weather event.
It's the ultimate stress test.
Truly. The moms had promised unseasonably warm mid-80s weather. But as Lily and Walker are driving the rental car ahead of their moms up into the mountains, this massive snowstorm hits.
It's just out of nowhere.
Yeah. They're crawling along a dirt road at 2 miles an hour, and they end up hydroplaning and sliding sideways right into a tree.
And instantly they are thrust into total survival mode. I mean, they hike to the family cabin, but the power is out. It is absolutely freezing.
Unforgiving cold.
Yeah. They survive the night with Lily wearing something like 20 layers of Walker's clothes. She describes feeling like a deeply unglamorous Michelin man.
Which is such a great visual.
It really is. And they're navigating by the light of Walker's ridiculously overpacked headlamps, because of course he brought two.
Always prepared.
Right. And they end up cooking canned beans in a cast iron pan over an open fire, just to survive.
Okay, let's pause and really look at the mechanics of this forced proximity. Because it's one thing to be annoyed by someone in a well-lit living room.
Oh, entirely different.
Right. It is entirely different to rely on them for your immediate physical survival. It's like being trapped in the universe's most intense escape room.
That's a great way to put it.
You're locked in a freezing cabin with a childhood crush who utterly broke your heart. Your only supplies are beans. And to make it exponentially worse, he's being obnoxiously competent.
The worst kind of competent.
Exactly. He's pulling her out of the wrecked car. He's taking the hit when he trips in the dark so it doesn't crush her. I'm really struggling with why she lets her guard down here. Is it just the freezing cold, Or does seeing him stripped of his polished societal armor actually change how her brain processes the threat he poses?
It's definitely a physiological shift. When you are thrust into a survival situation, the biting cold, the fear of the dark, your sympathetic nervous system takes over.
So her body is literally taking the wheel.
Exactly. Your brain reprioritizes. It stops spending energy on maintaining those complex defensive social postures you use in the civilized world because it needs all its resources just to regulate your body temperature. So when Lily is huddled next to a fire, just trying to stay warm, the hierarchy of her needs shifts completely. That physical stripping down, the sheer vulnerability of eating beans out of a pan, it dismantles the adult pretenses they've both constructed.
It just wipes the slate clean.
Exactly. And it perfectly sets the stage for the explosive emotional collision that happens the very next morning when the moms finally arrive.
Right, because we move from this intense, isolated survival bubble in the storm to the harsh, bright light of day. The snow melts. The moms arrive completely oblivious to the heavy tension in the room, and they accidentally detonate an emotional bomb.
They really do. The moms walk in, they see Lily and Walker waking up surrounded by this chaotic nest of blankets, and they lovingly tease them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they joke about finding them tangled together like spaghetti noodles for warmth.
Just awkward.
And then they start reminiscing about how Lily and Walker used to be soulmates.
And that one word is the spark that hits the powder keg. Lily just snaps.
Yeah.
She cannot sit there and let her mother and Walker's mother paint this rosy romantic picture of her childhood trauma. She erupts.
She can't hold it in anymore.
No, she tells the moms point blank that Walker is not the golden boy everyone thinks he is. She drags all the ugly history right out into the light, recounting the ultimate betrayal from when they were in 10th grade.
The study hall incident.
Yeah, when Walker publicly humiliated her in front of their entire study hall.
We really have to look at the brutal specifics of that memory to understand the depth of Lily's pain here. Lily was planning to ask Walker to the junior prom,
Right.
but Walker found out through the teenage grapevine. So before she could even ask him, he loudly rejected her in front of everyone. He said, "I'm the last guy on earth who'd go to junior prom with you, not with you and your weird eye."
It's just completely devastating. And it wasn't just a generic insult either.
No, it was a highly targeted strike. When Lily was in 6th grade, she had to wear an eye patch to correct a drifting eye.
And she got that horrible nickname.
Yeah, patchy. Walker knew exactly how much shame and bullying she had endured because of that patch. He bypassed every normal excuse and weaponized her deepest, most guarded insecurity against her.
I want to talk to you, the listener, about this for a second. Think about how often this happens in families. It is fascinating how two generations can experience the exact same shared history so entirely differently.
It happens all the time.
The moms are sitting there watching a rom-com unfold in their heads, but Lily lived a tragedy.
Yet,
Why do the people closest to us, the ones who supposedly know us best, often completely miss our deepest wounds?
well, we're remarkably good at compartmentalizing our pain, especially from the people who want the best for us. Parents often engage in a sort of nostalgic revisionism.
Like seeing what they want to see.
Exactly. The mothers wanted the narrative of the two best friends falling in love, so their brains naturally filtered out the friction that didn't fit that story.
But Lily's raw honesty in that kitchen completely shatters that revisionism.
It does. She forces Walker into a corner. He can no longer hide behind his good guy persona. The truth is out there, vibrating in the room, which demands that he finally step up and explain the mechanics behind his cruelty. Like, why did he do it?
Right, and to explain his motives, Walker literally corners Lily. He forces his way into a terrifying open-air gondola ride with her.
Such a dramatic setting for a confession.
It is. They're on their way up to Turnaround Pass to scatter the ashes, and Lily has a massive lifelong phobia of these gondolas. But Walker traps her in this swaying bucket in the sky, and he drops a massive psychological twist.
A twist that completely recontextualizes the entire narrative of their lives. Walker confesses that the night before her birthday, the night before he humiliated her in study hall when they had spent hours kissing on a garage roof, he actually was in love with her.
He thought he had found the real thing.
He really did.
But the very next morning, everything changed. Walker's lifelong best friend, Ryan, told Walker two massive things.
This is where it gets heavy.
Yeah. First, Ryan had just received a bone cancer diagnosis with only a 20% chance of survival. And second, Ryan was secretly in love with Lily.
This is the absolute crucible moment. Ryan looked at Walker, a 16-year-old boy, and said, I think she's going to be the thing I have to live for.
I mean, let that sink in. A teenager is handed the emotional weight of his best friend's potential death, tied directly to his own romantic happiness.
So Walker made a calculation. He intentionally and brutally broke Lily's heart. He didn't just reject her. He improvised the absolute cruelest insult he could think of, the eye patch comment.
Because he needed her to hate him.
Exactly. He needed to ensure she would unequivocally hate him so that she would say yes when Ryan asked her out.
And his horrific plan actually worked. Lily said yes to Ryan out of sheer spite. She dated Ryan throughout high school, and against all odds, Ryan survived the cancer.
It's incredible.
It is, but I have to push back a little on the romanticization of this moment. Walker plays the ultimate martyr here. He literally falls on his sword for his friend. But we have to ask, is it actually noble to manipulate someone's feelings like that? Or is it just toxic teenage hubris?
That's a big question.
Right. It's a 16-year-old boy playing God with a girl's heart. He didn't give her a choice. He engineered her reality without her consent.
You're hitting on the core friction of adolescent psychology here. At 16, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for long-term planning and understanding complex consequences, is simply not fully developed.
So he's not thinking clearly.
Not at all. Teenagers operate heavily from the amygdala, processing immediate emotional threats. Faced with his best friend's mortality, Walker experienced a sort of emotional trolley problem.
Oh, that makes sense.
He couldn't see a nuanced solution. He only saw a binary choice. Let his friend lose hope and potentially die, or become the villain to save him. The story highlights the deeply flawed, messy ways humans try to protect each other.
Because he did give up his own happiness.
He did.
Yeah.
And he fully accepted being the villain in Lily's story forever, just to give his dying friend a lifeline. It is hubris, absolutely, but it's born of an agonizing sacrifice.
He accepted the burden of her hatred to keep his friend alive. The weight of that secret is just incredible. And now, the truth is finally out in the open air of that gondola.
But knowing the truth doesn't just instantly rewire a decade of pain.
No, Lily still needs to process this massive paradigm shift. She steps away from Walker at the top of the pass to finally do what they came to do, scatter her father's ashes.
Which brings the whole trip back to its original solemn purpose.
Right, moving from the psychological weight of Walker's secret to the physical weight of grief.
And the text provides this incredibly visceral detail about the reality of ashes that perfectly mirrors the heavy reality of grief itself. Lily realizes that human ashes aren't whispery and light like fireplace ash.
No, they're really not.
They don't float beautifully away into the wind like you see in the movies. They are heavy, they're sandy, they contain fragments of bone, and they leave your hands weirdly sticky. They succumb to gravity.
If you're listening and you have ever been in that position, holding the ashes of someone you love, you know exactly what that feels like. It is a striking detail.
It's so grounding.
It is exactly like the truth she just learned about Walker.
Yeah.
It is not light and easy. It is heavy and gritty, and it sticks to you. And as she's holding these ashes, Lily reflects on this profound scientific concept that grief is strictly biological. It is not just an emotion, it is a physical state.
We're talking about the neurological mechanics of attachment. The brain literally assigns specific neural pathways, physical clusters of neurons, to keep track of the people we love.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's a survival mechanism to ensure we stay close to our tribe. But when a person dies, those neurons don't receive a signal that says the person is gone. They don't just switch off.
That's what happens.
They keep firing, constantly searching for a data point, a person who simply isn't there anymore.
Okay, think of it like a phantom limb, but inside your brain. Your brain is desperately firing signals into the void, looking for a connection that has been permanently uncoiled.
That's a perfect analogy.
If you are listening to this and you have ever lost someone, you know the deep physical exhaustion that comes with it. Knowing that physical reality, that your brain is literally rewiring itself, that your synapses are misfiring, it makes the experience of loss feel a little less crazy.
It completely validates the exhaustion of grief. When you are grieving, it's not just sadness, it is the painful biological process of neuroplasticity. Those neurons are eventually dying out from lack of a signal.
And in that moment of profound biological clarity, Lily has an epiphany. She's holding the heavy reality of her father, and she remembers his warmth. She remembers his goofiness, making what he called panfuls, which are pancakes cooked in a waffle maker.
Which sounds amazing, by the way.
I know, I kind of want to try that now. She realizes that her dad loved her so completely, so well, that the intense, agonizing pain of losing him was actually worth it.
Right. The price of that biological grief was justified by the quality of the love she received.
The pain is the receipt for the love.
Mm.
It is this realization about choosing love, despite knowing the painful consequences, that finally unlocks something inside of Lily's rigid worldview.
She starts to see things differently.
Yeah, she looks back at Walker's teenage hubris. She realizes that Walker, in his own messy, agonizing, manipulative way, was also choosing love when he sacrificed their relationship for Ryan.
And this realization gives her the permission she desperately needs to bridge the gap with Walker.
Which brings us to the resolution later that night.
Yeah, the storm has passed, the ashes are scattered, the truth is out. They are back in the basement bunk room of the cabin.
Just the two of them.
Right. And Walker is lying there, maintaining his physical distance because he firmly believes he does not deserve her forgiveness after what he did.
He's still punishing himself.
Exactly. He engineered a decade of her pain, and he thinks that disqualifies him from her affection entirely. But Lily approaches him. She playfully corners him on the bottom bunk.
I love this part.
And she tells him, "If you kiss me, I won't forgive you."
I just love the psychology of that line. She takes the pressure of forgiveness completely off the table.
She does.
She's essentially saying, we don't have to fix the past right this second, and I don't have to formally absolve you of your teenage hubris, but we don't have to actively punish ourselves anymore either.
And despite his guilt, despite his resolve to stay the villain, he kisses her anyway.
He couldn't resist.
He finally bridges that decade-long gap, and they just get lost in the relief of it. It is a profound behavioral shift. That kiss serves as an apology, an explanation, and a surrender all at once.
It's beautiful.
It's the culmination of two people who have been humbled by life, who understand the physical and emotional weight of heartbreak, finally allowing themselves a moment of grace without demanding perfection first.
It is a beautiful full circle moment. So, to recap this incredible journey for you, we started with a dreaded reunion and a freezing night surviving on canned beans.
Don't forget the Michelin man layers.
Right. We navigated a deeply buried trauma from a study hall humiliation, uncovered a heartbreaking sacrificial confession in a terrifying open-air gondola,
And ultimately arrived at a profound realization about the biological weight of grief and the messy, sacrificial nature of love.
and the overarching takeaway from Katherine Center's narrative is that human behavior is rarely as simple as good guys and villains.
There are always layers of motivation, often rooted in desperate protection and love, even when the actions themselves cause undeniable trauma.
Absolutely. As we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with a new thought to mull over regarding that grudge we talked about at the very beginning of the show.
Yeah, think back to that.
We often think that to let go of a grudge, we have to reach a place of pure moral forgiveness. But consider the biological reality of grief and anger we just unpacked.
It's biological.
What if true closure doesn't actually require you to forgive the person who hurt you? What if simply understanding the mechanics of why they did it and understanding the neuroscience of why your own brain is holding on to it is enough to release the nervous system's grip on that memory?
That's a powerful shift in perspective.
Think about it. Do you actually need to forgive them to move on? Or do you just need to understand the mechanism of the pain well enough to finally unplug the machine?